Okay, it's on?
Yeah, it's on. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm here. Ooh, listen to that.
Well, it's not bad, right? I do a pretty good job hooking up the old microphone.
Well, to be fair, I was going to call you Frank. To be fair, Hank, I was the one that plugged this microphone in.
Yeah, but I put it up on the mic stand.
Yeah, after I showed you how to do it.
Whatever, man.
Okay, well, all right. Hey, everybody. I should say, let me try. Wait, hang on. Let me test it. I'll test the mic here. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. Yeah, that sounds pretty darn good, doesn't it? So welcome to the James Arnold Taylor podcast, and we've got a great show for you. We've got a special show for you today. It's really cool. But so I'm saying hello there on this new mic. This is from SE Electronics. Now, I've talked about the SE Electronics 2200 before, which I love, and that's been the official mic of Season 3 of the James Arnold Taylor podcast, Talking to Myself, the JATcast, as we like to call it, because SE Electronics makes some great stuff. And again, not a commercial. It sounds like a commercial because I'm talking about them, but it's not a commercial. It's just me telling you about it because why? Because so many people love mics and stuff. So this is the anti-commercial. No, it's not. They sent me a mic called the Dynacaster. Now, why did they send me this mic? Because I voiced the commercial for the Dynacaster. So if you go online and look up Dynacaster, I did this. I thought it was really pretty cool. And I did this British voice, unleash your sound, the Dynacaster. And it was really cool. So they sent me one as a thank you. Isn't that cool? So I'm talking on this microphone, the SE Electronics Dynacaster. Why is this mic cool? It's really cool, I think, especially for podcasts. But one of the coolest things, it has a triple layer pop filter built into the microphone. So I have no windscreen on this mic right now. Normally I have windscreens on the mics. Now, for those of you that don't know, so it kind of protects from, P's and T's and B's and, sibilants and all that stuff. But like I'm saying, P, T, B, I'm saying that on the mic right now. Listen to that. You don't hear any pa, pa, pa. That's pretty good.
Yeah, let me try to do it. Ba, 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 ba.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're doing there, Hank.
I'm trying to do the plosive and the play. Pa, 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 pa.
Yeah, see? Look at that. It's built in, a triple layer. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's built into the mic. Then they gave like a little foam sock to go over it to help even more. But I don't even need that here. Isn't that cool?
I think it's pretty cool, man. I'm going to take the mic.
No, you're not taking a mic. I'm thinking this might be a great mic for the podcast, the official voice mic for the podcast, because it's really neat. It's got a built-in preamp in it. It's got all these wonderful settings, highs, lows, all that, and they give you instructions in the little manual of the best ways to set it for your room and all. But this is a really cool mic for people that are looking for an affordable, all-around podcast, voiceover, singing, musical instrument type microphone, the Dynacaster. And it's got a really cool name. Dynacaster. I like that. So anyways, I'm going to do the episode here on the Dynacaster today. Pretty cool, right? So thanks, SE Electronics. Please go to seelectronics.com. Please check out their stuff. Check out this microphone, the Dynacaster, brand new mic. Hot off the presses. Check it out. I think it sounds pretty darn awesome. And I think it's kind of a perfect mic for a podcast because of all the built-in plosive and stuff. And so I can still see. I don't have to sometimes with the windscreen, I have to kind of look through the windscreen at my scripts or the screen in front of me and all that. With this one, there's nothing. It's just I'll post pictures of it. You'll see how cool it is. It's really a neat microphone. But anyways, so SE Electronics, thank you, SEelectronics.com. Go there, check out their stuff, get some stuff, would you? And tell them James Arnold Taylor sent. If you buy something from SE Electronics, tell them that I sent you, because that's important. It really is. It's important so they know. But anyways, okay, there you go. Welcome to the James Arnold Taylor podcast. Let's bring in Mr. Announcer Guy to introduce the show because he knows what's going on. Hank knows what's going on. Billy knows what's going on. Well, I'm absolutely beside myself today, Mr. James Arnold, with the episode that you're having, what you're going to do. I know you are, because I know that you're a fan of the special guest. So this show is called Talking to Myself, and normally it's me talking to me, right? All the voices are me, but not today. Today I'm talking to a special guest, and we'll get to that in a second. Mr. Announcer Guy! Oh, listen to that. I can shout on this mic, and it sounds great. Listen. Hey, Mr. Announcer Guy! All I did was back off the mic a little, and isn't that awesome? Sounds great. I like the Dynacaster. Okay.
Yes, James. Ooh, I sound good on this mic, too.
Yeah, you do, right?
SE Electronics Dynacaster. I like to say Dynacaster.
You know, and there's settings on the back, Mr. Announcer Guy, where I could beef up the bass a little or take off the high end, roll it down or whatever, or just do it flat. And yeah, man, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
So anyways, do you want to introduce the show? Because you know what's going on today. We have a special guest. It's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday. You know, we release the show on Wednesdays, but if it was on Tuesdays, I'd sing the Disney Mickey Mouse Club song. Today is Tuesday. You know what that means. We're going to have a special guest. You guys remember that? That's okay. Maybe that's just me. I'm old. All right. Wipe off the mat so the welcome can be seen. I liked that. Okay, anyways. Mr. Announcer Guy, go ahead and introduce the show.
You got it, man. Cue that music, Jerry the Music Man.
You got it, Mr. Announcer Guy. Ooh, I sound good on this mic, too.
Everybody sounds good on the Dynacaster. It sounds great, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's the James Arnold Taylor Podcast. Talking to myself. We call it the JATcast, man.
Yeah, man.
On today's show, James has a special guest. The voice of Dookie on Johnny Test, Rocket Raccoon on Guardians of the Galaxy, Lego Emperor Palpatine, and much more, Mr. Trevor Devall. But now, here he is, the same guy that's been doing all the voices you're hearing, including this one, James Arnold Taylor!
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Announcer Guy. Sounding good on the old Dynacaster. I know. You guys are like, okay, James, we get it. It's a new microphone. You got to understand, I'm a complete nerd for microphones. I love microphones. Why? Because I spend my days on them. I don't know who that guy was, but because I spend my days. He's kind of a whiny kind of, yeah, hi, how are you? What is your name? My name is Edward, and I spend my days on microphones. All right. Okay, Edward. I don't know. You're kind of weird. Oh, the characters that come out of me. I never know. All right. So, yes, we have... Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Announcer Guy. You going to go listen?
Yeah, man, gonna listen to the show. Gonna be awesome.
It is. We have a special show for you today. My good dear friend, Trevor Devall. Trevor Devall. I say Devall, but I think he says Devall, so I'm going to say Devall. Trevor Devall. And Trevor is the voice of Dookie. So I'm on Johnny Test because I'm the voice of Johnny.
And Dark Vegan, and Mr. Mittens, Hank Anchorman,
and a bunch of other voices.
Johnny's new little brother, who's the baby robot, and he kind of sounds like this.
And Trevor is my dog Dookie, my best friend in the world. My awesome dog Dookie, the talking dog. So Trevor is that, but he's also many other characters, and he's a very accomplished voice actor. But Trevor has something really, really cool that he's been doing now for about a year, or maybe a little over a year now. Actually, over a year. Yeah, what am I, crazy? He's got 3 seasons out, so I guess he's been doing it close to 3 years. He has a show on his YouTube channel, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to get to it, so let's get to it. This is part 1 of a 2-part interview with my good friend, Trevor Devall, the voice actor behind Dookie on Johnny Test, Rocket Raccoon on Guardians of the Galaxy, Emperor Palpatine in Lego Star Wars, and so many more. So let's get to my time
with Trevor Devall.
Ooh, I went into Mr. Announcer Guy. That was a pretty good impression. Trevor Devall, one of my dearest friends. You know, you're one of my favorite people in the world. Do you know why?
I really don't.
Because you and I can go for hours on stuff. We can talk, and it never gets old, and we're kindred spirits, yet we're very different, yet we're also very similar.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I felt that way from the minute I met you in person, which was in Vancouver. You would come up.
Yeah.
I was fairly new to the show because I came on as on Johnny Test as Dookie in the 4th season, 3rd, whatever it was.
Something like that, yeah.
And you'd flown up, and I think that was the first time you had been up there, right?
That's right.
And we were in the booth together, and I remember it was just you and me, because of course Johnny and Dookie, lots of scenes together, and we kept throwing imitations at each other.
Yes.
I think the first one I remember you doing was the Johnny Carson doing your cousin.
All right.
And then we would go back and forth with walking with the whole thing, and I was like,
crazy.
All right, well, I love this guy. but then we went out for lunch, whatever it was, and we just had we could just talk and talk for hours and hours and hours about all things, and yeah.
And it doesn't hurt that we're both huge Seinfeld fans.
It sure does. It surely does not hurt. Yeah. Because life is Seinfeld.
That's right.
If you look at it, eventually, everything comes around to a Seinfeld quote. It's just the way it is.
It's very cool to have you here on the Talking to Myself. Now, the myself part is also part of your show. Here's the thing is I want all of the folks that listen to my show, because this is just an audio show, to go to the YouTube. But a lot of them listen on YouTube, believe it or not. They go to YouTube, they click on the thing, and it's just a logo of the show, and then they listen to me blather on for like an hour. But while they're at YouTube, here's what they need to do. No Jedi mind trick required here. They need to go and check out your channel.
Me, myself, and die, as in the opposite of living, as in the
D-I-E.
The thing you roll on the table when you are gambling away your life, the die.
So in an overview of why, and I know that my audience, although I think a lot of my audience already is a part of your audience, but folks that are not, why would they love this? Because this is role playing. This is so can you explain, kind of give the overview? It's not Dungeons and Dragons per se, but it is a role playing. It's an RPG, right?
Yeah. So if you guys know anything about D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, fantasy role playing games, a lot of people now have been brought to the game via Critical Role, which is a bunch of our voiceover colleagues in LA that got together years ago and started to record themselves playing D&D. And of course, they became a worldwide sensation and threw a huge spotlight on D&D itself. And now it's gained like thousands and thousands and thousands of new adherents. So my show is basically like Critical Role, except it's just me playing all the characters,
which is the greatest thing ever. It's a cousin to Talking to Myself.
It is,
because that's what I do here.
It is. It's an embarrassing red-haired cousin that you want to just lock away in the closet and not talk about, except maybe at Thanksgiving.
No, not at all. Because they're very different from each other, just like us. We're very different, yet there's something alike. I like this. Look at the parallels I didn't even plan any of this.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, this is fantastic. So give us a little example. Is it a specific game that you play?
So Dominion is the third season of the show. So basically every season I change the game system. So I don't actually use Dungeons and Dragons.
No.
Because everybody and their dog uses D&D, and I want to highlight all of the other hundreds of millions of other games out there that a lot of people don't know about. So in the first season, I used a game called Savage Worlds. Okay. And in the second season, I used a game specifically designed for solo role-playing called Ironsworn.
Okay.
And in the third season, I'm using an old obscure game called Dominion Rules. But the gist is that whatever the system I'm using in a season, it's all governed by what they call an oracle system, which just basically means every time I don't know what's going to happen, which is most of the time, I roll dice and consult a chart, and that will give me an idea as to what direction the storyline could go, and then I use the game system to game out the details of it. So when I sit down to record an episode, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen.
Right.
I have no idea what characters are going to show up. Yeah. I have no idea whether the main character is going to live or die. I have none of that. So it's always a huge surprise to me. And I think a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, we just love your energy. You're just so," and it's because I'm in the middle of playing the game and I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm most of the time terrified that everyone's going to die. So.
That's so great. It's kind of like me with this show. I never know if any of the characters are going to come in and kill me. No, but I should roll the die. I love this concept of rolling the die, and then that says your fate. Now, let me ask you. Were you a gamer from day one? Like, you're younger than me.
Yeah.
I'm an old man, Trevor.
You're old man.
But I grew up with Dungeons and Dragons. I remember when I was a kid, it became this thing, and you got the books and all that. So were you playing when you were younger?
Yeah, man, since I was 7 years old.
Oh, really?
I started in 1979.
Yeah. Were you a DM ever?
Oh, yeah. In fact, that was the position that I gravitated naturally to, because when you're a player, of course, you just play one character.
Yeah.
But if you're the GM, if the game master, you play the world. You play everybody in the world. And that very much appealed to me because I could jump back and forth between characters and accents and all kinds of stuff. And in fact, one of my early strengths as a gamer that my friends always tell me about it was they were like, always with you, it's these characters we never know. They come out of blue and you use these weird accents and you're just awesome. Awesome. So that was my thing.
Wow, your friends were like my friends.
I know,
Hey,
losers.
dude, you're totally cool. and if any of them are listening now, they're gonna be like, I didn't sound like that.
None of us sound like that. What are you doing?
Those guys are jerks. Hate them. So how often then do you lose a character that's one of your favorite characters on the show? Does that happen?
Well, I have to tell you, it hasn't happened yet.
Oh.
Which I'm stunned by. But so far, none of the main characters have died. They've all lived and thrived and got through the thing. Now, season 3 is just beginning, and we left off on a pretty brutal cliffhanger. So we'll see what happens this week when I record episode 4 of season 3. But what's fascinating about this, and I don't want to get into the weeds about the details of everything, but I will say that one of the driving storylines of season 1 was Simon, who's the main character, the main protagonist. He lost his parents, and his whole thing was he didn't lose them at the mall, as in they're dead, and he doesn't know why. He was orphaned, and his whole thing was, I want to find out what happened to my parents. So the whole season is about him, among other things, trying to find out what happens with his parents. And what's wild about it is that he finds out, and it's quite a surprise. I don't want to give it away, but I will say that.
Yeah, don't give it away.
But there's moments when he encounters his father later on, which is a giant twist. It's nothing like people are expecting, I'll say that.
Okay.
But when it happens, when the resolution happens, I've had fans tell me that they were weeping.
Really?
They had tears in their eyes because of what happened between the two of these characters. And it's funny because it's just me. It's just me going back and forth playing these two characters. But there's an earnestness to it and there's a truth to it.
Yeah.
Because, I'm an actor, and of course,
yes, you are.
As an actor, we gotta play the truth.
Yeah.
And it's the same in this show. So yeah, people have said to me that they were really profoundly moved by a whole bunch of stuff. The endings of both the first 2 seasons as well. People were profoundly moved. So it's cool. It's cool. It's like making a little movie because I do like the audio effects and I've got little miniatures on the table.
Yeah.
So there's some level of visual stuff going on there as well. So it's quite a show. It's quite a show.
It's a scene, man.
It's a scene, man.
This is in Dominion. This is in season 3 that you're talking about. This big surprise.
No, that was in season 1. Season 2 is about, and I'm actually really proud of this too. There's a character named Arn Kalapunki, who is sort of this Norwegian sort of guy. And he shows up early in season 1 as an antagonist to Simon. He's a bounty hunter. He's going after him. But over the course of the season, they become allies.
Okay.
And to the point where at the end of, going into season 2, it's Arn's story. Because he goes back home to fulfill his vow to his family and his people. And the whole season about him. And now the third season is about a totally different character.
How does that happen though, Trevor? Is it from the rolls of the die or are you come in with a basic story idea?
No. I came in with nothing.
You come in with...
I came in with absolutely nothing. In fact, if you look at the first episode of season 1, I come in and I make the character.
Okay.
And I, determine a little bit about his back. And it's all random because I've got all these different randomizers and charts and tables from various books I've collected over the 40 years I've been doing this.
Yeah.
So we discover that Simon he's a ranger. He's like a woodsman kind of guy. We discover that he's got this best friend who is this half-orc kind of guy.
Okay.
We discover that his parents are lost. We discover that he's been raised by his grandfather or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first episode, randomly determined.
Yeah.
It turns out his best friend, this half-orc, is on trial for a murder he didn't commit, and Simon is trying to rescue him before they can hang him.
Oh, my word.
And it all goes horribly wrong, and his best friend gets killed, and now Simon's on the run. And that's episode 1. And I had no idea what the story was going to be. It all just evolved.
And his friend being killed, is that because of the roll of the die?
Yeah, that's because the way that particular game system worked out, we were in the middle of a combat, and
didn't work. Yeah,
but he got killed.
Well, so unfortunately, people will know that going into it. but
Well, yes.
But-
That's just the first episode, though.
oh, okay, it's first episode. Okay, so because I want people to go back. There's 3 seasons now, so if they go back now,
Yeah.
and just kind of hunker down and season 1 and go for it and kind of binge that, then they got season 2, and then by the time they're caught up, you will have already had even more episodes. Because what do you got, about 3 episodes out right now of season?
Yeah, there's
as we talk.
3 episodes of season 3, and I try to do 1 a week.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot because the production quality of my show is pretty up there. I've got 9 camera angles. I do, like I said, the miniatures, and I do the sound effects and the music. In fact, I've composed original score for this, so I've hired people to do the score for this as well. Well, you turned me on to Cooper.
Yes, my friend Cooper Babbis.
Who did just fantastic work in season 2. I wanted him so badly for season 3, but he was so busy with stuff, so I had to go elsewhere and find. So I found lots of people all over, but I'm very proud of the music because it's all original and it's good stuff.
It's just what I love about it is all the things that we as kids would have loved to have been able to do.
Yeah.
That you're able to now do with this home studio and this setup and the cameras and creating all of this. And it's so well produced and it looks great. It sounds great, but then your acting is great. Everything that goes into this show is top notch. And that's where I hope people will really kind of take the time and realize it, because a lot of, like you have, folks that are your fans that are watching the show, the fans that listen to my show are creators and they're creative people. And I want them to be inspired by this, but also raise their own bar.
Yeah, for sure. I've been so privileged to have so many people write in the comments or send me. Oh my God, man! I got this email yesterday from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big long email. He sent it to my fan mail through my website, and it was just basically saying, "I just want you to know that you've totally inspired me, and don't ever get down because you're criminally underwatched. You've only got 10,000 subscribers, but you deserve to have like 1 million. And I just want you to know the huge effect you've had." And another guy saying that you got me back into solo RP and you got me back into playing, and I've introduced my son to the game now through this.
Wow.
I sit and me and my boy we wait every Monday for the new episode to show up, and we just relive those old feelings that he used to have as a kid playing the game, and these are unbelievable compliments.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea that I would have such an effect with these folks. Man, I certainly didn't set out to do that. I was just like, I'm gonna play a game by myself and make silly voices. But as it turns out, it really resonates with a lot of these guys, and it's tremendous.
That's great. Now I know the show's video, but let's take a listen to one of those dramatic moments from Me, Myself, and Die, season 1.
Is he going to run up and end the half-orc who he sees as the real threat? I think there's a pretty good chance, actually. I'm going to call it likely, and ask our fate chart here. 44, yeah. I don't know why I do this to myself, but there it is. The dice don't lie. He runs up, the half-orc squirming on the ground, and he comes up and he buries his axe, killing Vilborg of the strange name. Simon sees this, having just felled his one foe, and cries out, "No! Vilborg!"
Dramatic stuff, Trevor.
Thank you.
It's great. And, in a very short amount of time, you've garnered well over 10,000 subscribers. And then you have a Patreon subscription with it,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
you can become a patron of Trevor and Me, Myself, and Die. So I would encourage people to watch the show and then support him as well, because that allows you to continue doing what you're doing. I think that's the beauty of all of this, is that we're able to kind of create our own little circle of entertainment, but also fans, and then the fans make it possible by adding to it. So very important to do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. It's also interesting that there's a couple of sort of, I don't want to call them imitators because that has a derogatory comment, but there's a number of shows that have come out since I've started the show that are basically versions of my show, except with far less production, because most people can't afford 9 cameras like this. Oh, and most people are professional actors as well. But it's so wild to see all of these shows come out, people solo role-playing and sharing it with the world via YouTube. I'm like,
Yeah.
and all of them, they say to me, at the beginning of their series or whatever, they say, oh, huge inspiration from Trevor Devall and Me, Myself, and Die. This really inspired me to do this. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is amazing that these people are getting so inspired to do this stuff. It's so cool. It is
cool. And I remember when you were talking about this, because you talked about this for a while before doing it. And, the whole concept of it's just you doing that. I didn't know that you could do a role-playing game on your own like that. And it's still entertaining and fun for you, not just the folks watching it, right?
Oh, yeah, to the point where I was talking with my gaming group the other night on a Zoom call, and we were talking about the show, and, they're all watching the show, and my friend Rob, he laughed, and he said, so you don't really need us at all. I was like, well, I wouldn't go that far, but not really.
Oh, man. Hey, can we talk about the voices and such? Because again, you are you've been a theater actor, on-camera actor, but primarily I think your love, like mine, is voiceover.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that you can be anything. You and I, we haven't really even talked about it here. We're on JATcast together. And you're my awesome dog, Dookie. But the factor that you have above a lot of other people is you're very in tune to accents. You're just great with kind of working those out and all. Is that just a natural gift? Is that, you'd be like, yes, it's a natural gift. But
Yes, I'm very talented, James. Let me tell you about myself.
I'm so good. I could go on about myself.
But where did you get that knack for accents? Is that something that within your family? Is it because you grew up with accents?
Well, it's kind of both those things, because I grew up in Canada and we watched a lot of British TV, including Monty Python.
Yes.
So I grew up with a lot of Monty Python. So that was where my love of the British sense of humor, as well as the accents and the wide variety of UK accents and Irish accents as well, sort of came from. And so I was exposed to it a lot more than I think a lot of Americans are.
Right.
At least in those days. And then my older brother Mike, he used to do. This is sort of a story I've told a million times, but it's true.
But not on this show.
Not on this show. First time on this show. He used to do an impression of Jackie Stewart, who was a Scottish race car. Jackie Stewart turned driver turned commentator, and he would do this thing around the dinner table when I was a kid, when I was very young. Where he would say, you'd pass the salt and pepper, so they'd pass the salt and pepper, and he'd say, oh, it's a great day for a race today. Look at this salt and pepper look at that pepper pulls out in front, and he's rounding the first turn. Oh, no, but salt is catching up. It's good. Oh, no, pepper's up. He's having trouble hanging on the outer turn. Oh, no, and he loses control, and he hits the wall and bursts into flames. And that was Jackie Stewart's big thing, was he burst into flames.
Burst into flames,
So this would go on, and eventually my brother was doing it one day with, mustard and ketchup, right? Look at this. Oh, no. My mustard pulls out, but look at this. Ketchup is not at all surprisingly catching up. Look at this. Oh, no, ketchup's coming around the outside turn. He's started to lose control. And then I burst in with, and he burst into flames. And everybody stopped and looked, and they laughed. No. And I saw, funny voice equals power over people, world domination shall be mine, was my first thought there. So
that's it. And about how old were you? Do you know?
5.
Yeah. See, that's really interesting because, when I was 4, I'm not trying to outdo you there with the, a year younger, but everybody on this show knows when I was 4 years old is when I kind of realized, oh, Mel Blanc is a man in a booth on a microphone. And Don Messick and all these guys. And I went, I want to do that. And I started doing voices as well. So it's really fun that we have that commonality. But I think it also is something to encourage folks that are listening that are doing voices. Because, you get it the same as I do. How do you get into voiceover? How do you do this? What is the key to it? And the key is being passionate about it, loving becoming all these other characters and being able to just pull this off without people realizing that it's you sometimes, especially when it's just audio like that. But when you do that accent, it's so solid and it's just right there. It's not like somebody putting on something. It's just from years of it just being a part of your fiber. So
and I think as well, like you sort of hit the nail on the head there, where you say it's not about doing voices; it's about doing characters.
Yeah.
And so when you jump into a character, I don't know about you, but when I'm playing a character, I'm fully embodying that. I I'm sort of picturing in my mind's eye
Yes.
me as that person physically, and that informs what your body does, and it informs, if he's a great big guy, then my chest kind of pumps up and my shoulders go back and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it really is more like so many people, and we've talked about this ad nauseum on other shows.
Yes.
but a lot of these people in the world have this idea that it's just doing voices, and that couldn't be further from the truth. The voice is just one small aspect of what makes the character.
Yeah. And it's about kind of training your ears, really being able to hear it. Because I know that you and I, we do talk about this, when we just get together and kibitz, as it were, about the world and voiceover and characters, is you have to have the ears to hear what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And then be able to change that. I think a lot of people don't have the ears tuned yet. So I always tell people, listen to wonderful actors like Trevor Devall. Go watch the show, because it's going to be an education. Not only is it entertaining, but it's an education in character development. It really is, because some of these you're just going on the fly, right? Is that also the way it works? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I love how good you are. Like, I'm not bad. I'm no schlub when it comes to accents, but I get weird doing accents in front of you because because you're really good at them. and so, like, you could do like a South African, you do just variations, New Zealand, you'll do, Australian, and you have that ear for that in a way that a lot of people don't have. You and like J.B. Blanc, I think, both have this ability to
he's amazing.
Yeah.
He is amazing.
Yeah. So do you have one that you'll work on and then you'll go, oh, I got to put it in the show? Does that work like that, or?
Yeah, for sure. Like Simon in season 1 started off sort of bog standard British, fantasy Europe kind of thing. So he was sort of heroic like this, but he was very much British RP, received pronunciation sort of thing.
Right.
And this is the way Simon spoke, and I decided this from the beginning. But then when he met Edbert early on, I had just randomly determined Edbert's name, and as I randomly determine everything in the show.
Right.
But he meets Edbert in a bar, in a tavern, and Edbert, he's quite a character. He's quite a character, let me tell you. People are always saying he's quite a character. But he's, I don't know why I came up with Irish for him. It just seemed right at the moment, because I'll talk through it. I'll be like, okay, Edbert's looking at him, and he says, right, sort of, maybe. Yeah, right, there it is. I think now he's going to sound like that. Why not? Yeah. And at that point, he becomes this Irish character, or Arn, who becomes a pretty main character as well.
Yeah.
He appears in season 2, and I just happened to randomly roll kind of a Scandinavian name, Arn Kalapunki, which turns out is Finnish. So I just did sort of a bog standard, what we call the Skyrim accent, which is like a video game, which it's not really Swedish, it's not Norwegian, it's just sort of up there, kind of, but not really.
Almost like a Star Wars accent.
Right, exactly. So it's like, is that a thing in the world? No, not really, but it has the feeling of being up in the snows and ice and the fjords, but it's not really. You couldn't go to Norway and people would say, where are you from? That's not us.
So for me, I don't want to say I get lazy, because I don't get lazy because I'm always watching and listening, but I rely on ones that I created when I was much younger. Do you find that most of the accents, you found them when you were younger?
Oh, yeah. Lazy is a perfect word to describe me and everything I do. So
I didn't want to say, but
No, it's true. I in fact, that's a problem with me not a problem. It's a challenge for me, because I am always trying to push the envelope, and I'm trying to discover new things. That's how the South African thing came about, because for years and years and years, the Johannesburg accent was, for me, was the holy grail of accents, because it was like this, like, what is it so bizarre? And then one day, not that long ago, a few years ago, I was just hanging my laundry to dry, and I started talking to the wash. Right, I started to talk to the laundry like this, like the wash. Right, here I am, hanging the wash like this. I'm going to put this pair of pants up here, and this this shirt up here goes like this. And all of a sudden, I was like, why do I sound like I'm from District 9? Oh my God, I'm doing the Johannesburg accent. How did that happen? And so
it just unlocked.
It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I went to a Guardians of the Galaxy session that day, and Harrison, one of the producers, he heard me just kind of riffing on it, and he said, you can do that accent? I said, well, apparently. I don't know. It came to me in the night, I guess. And so, of course, the next week they hire me as Claw, right?
Yes.
in the Avengers because he's got to be this sort of South African guy. And I was like, that's the coolest story I think I've ever had from working in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's just,
And hey, let's talk about that. Because, I mean, again, we're talking, obviously, I want to encourage people to check out your channel, subscribe to your channel, support your channel, and watch the episodes of Me, Myself, and Die. But I also, you and I have been friends for, so long. We've worked on so many things together. Johnny Test, only one
2011,
little thing. Yeah. But then Guardians of the Galaxy was a show that I think got canceled too soon. I think we could have gone longer.
Yeah.
But we had so much fun, and you are Rocket Raccoon, as well as many other characters. I was Yondu and Cosmo, primarily on the show. What a great, fun time that was while we were still all recording together in studios, I mean, I guess that's the good news, is that we're not all in studios together anymore, so it wouldn't have been as much fun to do Guardians. But that was just a wonderful experience for me to be a part of that. But for you guys, you and Will, and I mean, you made a lot of friends on that show, yeah?
I sure did. That was the best possible way for me to enter into the Hollywood voiceover world, because I moved down in 2013 in July.
Okay.
And I got my agent and started auditioning for stuff and booking stuff in September of that year. But then in the spring, early spring, I booked like 3 things in a row, big series, and one of them was that. And that series changed my whole life, because suddenly I was in the room with these voiceover giants. You know, there was Vanessa Marshall and Kevin Michael Richardson, and you come in, and literally everybody who was anybody in the LA voiceover world had a role on that show.
Yeah.
And that's where I met everybody for the first time, like Greg Griffin or Kari Wahlgren, and these people that came in to play these roles. And I was like, what have I done in some former life to deserve this? I got to tell you, I was just in LA on the weekend again, had to go back there.
Yeah.
And as we were there, I said to Nisa, my girlfriend, I said, I'm glad we're not there anymore for all kinds of reasons, but I have to tell you, I am so grateful for the years I spent here. And I'm so grateful for what this city gave me and the opportunities it afforded me and the people that it allowed me to interact with and become close to.
Yeah.
What a dream. What a dream come true to be able to do that,
No, I totally agree. And while we are on other parts of the world now, it still holds that, I think, for both of us in that. And then the casting folks and the directors, Lisa Schaefer, Andrea Romano, Colette Sunderman, all these wonderful people.
Yeah, just what a dream. What a dream come true. It's just been fantastic.
And then we have another thing that people may not know in common, and that is in the world of Star Wars. You and I have been in quite a few Lego Star Wars things together recently.
Yes, you are far more the Star Wars guy than I am, because, you being Obi-Wan for all those years, I mean, you solidified your position. I'm the comedy version of the Emperor on Lego Star Wars, so I have a little toe in the Star Wars pool, but it's a blocky brick-looking toe.
It is a blocky brick. And it's pretty fun because he is a character when he's a Lego guy. I mean, it's just, you get to take the Emperor into these layers that Ian never would get to take him,
100%.
Ian McDermott, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what's fun. But also some other characters, too. Like you've done Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, I did Jar Jar, I did Boba, I was Admiral Akbar, I was...
oh, did you do Akbar? I didn't know you did Akbar.
It's a trap! See, sounds just like him.
Yeah, you do. It's amazing. And Star Wars was obviously a big thing for you growing up, I would imagine, as well. They had Star Wars in Canada, didn't they?
Well, some of the time. I mean, it's tough to go see a movie in Canada because you've only got 4 hours of gravity every day, so you have to be careful because you might float to the top of the theater, so it's difficult.
So now, you know what I find fascinating is how many successful voice actors in America are Canadian.
Well, you can't be that surprised. I mean, come on.
But what is it about all of you? You and of course David Kay, who's my buddy Clank and Ratchet and Clank, and Tara Strong, Cree Summer, Eric Bauza, a lot of different people.
Eric Bauza, yeah.
What is it, do you think, about the Canadian voice actor kind of taking off in America? Do you think there's anything to that, or is it just...
Well, I don't know. I mean, I
Canadian
would
luck?
say, when you spend a lot of time inside during the winter, so I guess you're watching a lot of cartoons and such because it's too cold to go outside. So I guess maybe that's it. I don't even know.
Now, how did TV work for you guys? Did you get all of the stuff that we got, or did you only get some of it? I mean, like, obviously Monty Python wasn't from us, but...
Yeah, I mean, that's a British thing, but American channels, we would get it, but the problem is when we'd watch it, for one thing, the channel would have to go through customs when it was beamed across the border, so that always took an extra day. And then you had to wind up your TV, which was difficult because you had to keep it going. And it was powered entirely by seal blubber.
Right.
So that made it difficult. Every show was sort of oily and greasy. So we were like, oh, those greasy Americans and their greasy shows, eh? Yeah.
I had no idea you were going to be such a sarcastic jerk.
Really? It's been 12 years.
Yes, come on. No. That is awesome.
Do you know, just to interject here, do you know that Kevin Michael Richardson, I'll never forget this, when we were doing a session of Guardians early on, and we were talking about Halloween, and I said, well, I gotta go back. I'll be there for Halloween. And he looked at me and he said, do you have Halloween in Canada? And I said, no, Kevin. No, of course. Like, what? No, we don't have. What are you talking about? Of course we have Halloween. Well, I don't know. I just didn't think you had. I said we also have atmosphere and light. We have light too.
Oh,
I was like, well, I don't know. I just love
it. We tend to do that, just like people tend to go, oh, you're from California. Do you know Scott? Why would I know Scott? I don't know. Maybe. Well, I mean, you might know him because he was out in that area, and then you realize
in that area.
It's like, well, it's a pretty big state, So now, I mean, but I will say, like where I am now, which is not California, an undisclosed state,
in a bunker in an undisclosed location.
Yes, that's right. That I do know more. Like when somebody says, "Oh, somebody just moved from California," I go, "Oh, I know them." It's kind of weird that's happening, but there you go. Okay, so now how long does a season? Jumping back to Me, Myself, and Die. How long does a season last? How many episodes do you generally do?
Well, it depends on how the story plays out.
It really does. Okay.
Yeah, like I have no idea what's going to happen. So in the first season, it was 22 episodes.
Yeah,
which is a lot. That's a lot because they're about a half an hour to 40 minutes each one, so it's quite a bit.
Right.
And then the second season was 18 episodes.
Yep.
And this season, no idea. I have no idea how long it's going to go.
Do you not know until that last episode, or do you go into it knowing, okay, this is the last one, I'm going to finish it?
No, I really let the dice tell the story.
It's so fascinating because I think people, especially people listening that are not accustomed to role-playing stuff, will really get addicted to this and this type of storytelling, and they may find just a whole new binge and something to get into because of the fact that it's all determined on the roll of the die. I think it's just a really neat, fascinating way to tell story. I think Hollywood should do it that way now, too.
Yeah, why not?
That's how they should have done the Avengers movies.
Well, it is the whole role-playing game thing, and I'm talking tabletop. I'm not talking computer role-playing games. It is a completely and wholly unique form of entertainment because it is the only form of entertainment where you are not only experiencing the tale, you are instrumental in telling it as well.
Wow.
And it's not like writing a book. Mm-hmm. It's not like saying, okay, well, I write this and I decide what happens. You don't decide what happens. You decide what your character wants to do, but your character is at the whim of fate. So fate decides what happens. So it is a fully immersive experience where you are developing the tale as you go with no idea what's coming. So it's not like a book. It's not like a movie. It's not like a comic. It's not like anything else. It's its own thing. And then the solo RPG, which is what I do, is an even more unique form because now it's all you. And you're determining everything by yourself. You're taking the role of the player or players in my case, and also the game master. So it's a completely unique thing. Yeah.
So with that in mind, let's take a listen to another clip from Me, Myself, and Die, where you prove that point, where you're rolling the die to get Arn's name. Take a listen.
So we determine his motivations. So this is a lot like determining a random event from Mythic. This revolting expert, this hideous, revolting bounty hunter. First motivation is going to be 86. Refine the wealthy. Refine the wealthy. He is working for a patron. He is specifically working for someone who... Oh, I know what this is. He is working for Simon's minor enemy that we determined in the first session from his background. Great. The bounty hunter is working for the minor enemy. I want a name for this bounty hunter. So once again, we're going to go to the good old Xanathar's guide here. Arn. I like that. Arn. Arn what? Arn. Let's go to the old Perilous Worlds book to get another name. Arn 11. Kalapunki. Arn Kalapunki, the revolting expert who is working for the minor enemy, which we don't know anything about yet. We haven't determined that. Let's do that.
Man, I love getting people turned on to new shows, new things, especially right now, because I got to tell you, man, I talk about this a lot on my podcast here, is that, Hollywood has got to stop with the really depressing tales of based on a true story. It's like, and just everything. We need some fantasy. I know characters can die in your thing and stuff, and it's action and all of that, but it's a fantasy, and that's fun, and it's characters, and it's, we need more of that. So I encourage everybody to check out Trevor Devall's Me, Myself, and Die. And it is on his YouTube. So you go to YouTube and you search for Me, Myself, and Die.
Yep.
And you will find it.
And it'll come up.
And it's got a great little logo. What is that, like a 20-sided die?
It's a little 20-sided die, yeah.
A
little
red
20-sided die.
20-sided die. And that's how you know it's officially you, because I don't know if there's any
That's right.
imitators out there. Go and subscribe, and please consider becoming a patron as well. That's all been, you've been doing that for about a year or so now, is that?
Yeah, I think around a year, and I have different tier levels. There's the general supporter, and then there's the sort of next up, and then there's the next up, and each level has slightly different things. So for my D10 level people, I do special programming just for them.
Wow.
So I do a show called Drinking with DMs, which is me just sitting down and getting loaded with other gamers and talking about game stuff. A lot of which won't ever make it to YouTube.
No. So how does that happen then? How do you do that? Is that...
when you become a subscriber through Patreon, if you unlock the D10 level, which is $10 a month, I think.
Okay.
Then you automatically get access to all the stuff on Patreon that exists for that.
So they handle that. That's neat.
Yeah, they handle everything. So it's, I think right now there's 8 episodes of Drinking with DMs. You also get like premium access to stuff. I do another show called The Sage's Library, which is me talking about all the many games that I've ran and played over the years. So patrons get early access to that. They also get access to live chats that I do, which I then put on YouTube afterwards. So in order to be part of that, you got to be a patron.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. And I'm adding a bunch of new show ideas as well as we go forward. I'm actually pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's really taken off. I mean, in the short amount of time that you and I started talking about this, I remember when you were like, so, this whole YouTube thing, how's it going for you? And I was like, it's pretty good. I mean, you've exploded. There's just I'm just scrolling through your channel right now on an iPad here, and you just have tons and tons of videos. So there's so much that people can watch and take in and learn about RPGs and learn about the solo RPGs specifically, and just find the fun. But also for all of you that are into voices, this is a great school. I just honestly, I know that, you would never sell it that way, Trevor, but it is a school for folks learning this. I know that the fellow that cuts my hair is, he's a game master. You would say game master, not dungeon master, I guess, right? You say GM.
That's right. He's serious if he's calling himself a GM and not a DM.
I see. Okay.
He's the real thing.
So, and he was like talking as the real deal. And he's like saying, I got to learn voices and different things. He was fascinated, picking my brain. And I'm like, I can tell you all day how to do stuff, but really watch Trevor's show and watch the channel, because you're going to learn so much from that. So any of you folks that are watching or listening rather to this show that want to know about voices and stuff, this is a great school for you, and it's also entertaining and fun.
Oh, thank you.
Just so much fun to have you here, Trevor. I mean, we could go on and on. We could have our own weekly podcast, but
we should.
And we probably will go on and on. Well, who knows? That is going to conclude the first part of my interview with my dear friend Trevor Devall. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Very interesting stuff, what he does and how he works with voices and things. We're going to find out more about his voices. We're going to find out more about his life and more about fun stuff. Please come back and join me for the second part of my interview with Trevor on the next episode, which will be next week. I'll do that. I think I'll do that. Yeah. Then the next week. So because these are kind of special, I'm going to link them together. And then the next week, we'll go back to the regular ones where we do comments and just a regular Jat show there doing the JATcast. Okay? I think that sounds good. Let's bring in Mr. Announcer Guy to do the legal mumbo jumbo on the show. Hey, Mr. Announcer Guy.
Yes, James.
What is that?
I don't know. I was being like you.
Okay. You ready to do the legal mumbo jumbo?
Yeah, man. It's what I do.
All right, go for it, dude.
Dude, talking to myself, the James Arnold Taylor podcast is a production of Yumigo Inc., recorded at Chat Studios. Engineered, written, recorded, and produced by, you guessed it, James Arnold Taylor. All voices are parody and should be construed as entertainment only. All music and sound effects used with permissions and licenses through Backtracks, Digital Juice, Production Tracks, and Partners in Rhyme. James Arnold Taylor's Talking to Myself, the podcast. Copyright 2022, all rights reserved.
Thank you, Mr. Announcer Guy. Looking forward. Hey, did you like the interview with Trevor?
Yeah, man, it was cool.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for all of you being here and listening, and I hope you come back next time, and I hope you go back and listen to old episodes of the James Arnold Taylor podcast. If you're brand new to the show, if this was the first time you ever listened, hey, there's many, many shows and many, many things on my YouTube channel. There's many, many things on my Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Check all that out. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's at JATactor. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time, hear you next time, listen to me. Well, you'll hear me. I won't hear you probably. Thank you all so much for joining me. And we'll say bye-bye there. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Obi-Wan, say goodbye now.
Goodbye now.
No, say goodbye there. Like hello there, but goodbye there.
Oh, yes, I see.
Goodbye there. Very good. Thank you, Obi-Wan.
My pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Always has to have the last word.
No, I don't.
See? Bye-bye.